So thank you for joining us today. How's everyone doing? Are you enjoying the conference? You're learning a lot. I see a lot of note-taking. Good, all right. So today we are taking a trip into the future. So we want you to join us as we look at what's going to be going on in recruitment in 2020. So we're looking at social trends, recruitment trends, and so forth. And as we started putting this presentation together, it was interesting to think like, oh my gosh, we're already 3/4 of the way through 2019, which is kind of crazy. And when I started thinking of 2020, I'm like, man, 2020 is very futuristic. And actually, if you look at movies that took place in 2020, very futuristic, right? Robots, we've got aliens, time travel, superhumans. So a lot's gonna be happening next year, apparently, if we go by this as our prediction, right? So it's pretty exciting, though. And while we're not there yet, that's where we're headed. And it's a really exciting time to be in the talent acquisition and HR space because of all of the new things that are transitioning. So some of it is things that you've been doing, but they're shifting, and some is just new. And actually, employment brand marketing is going to be the most in-demand HR skill as we move into 2020, which a lot of you have probably seen even in your own roles, you're transitioning. So we're gonna go ahead and dive in. As I mentioned, social media predictions. We're going to look at how recruitment is moving, and then what do you and your recruiters need to be doing in 2020? What kind of personas do you have to take on to really step into this new world? So we're gonna crack open our crystal balls. Maybe not crack them open, how about get them out? I don't think they'll be as effective if we do that, but we're gonna take a look at social media predictions in the next year. And we're gonna go through a variety of topics. I just wanna kind of lay them out for you. We're gonna dive into each one individually. We're gonna start with video.
Awesome. So with video, the thing that I would really take away from this, just right off the bat, is that while it used to be this kind of cool way to reach out, now it's mandatory. We just have to do it. And we have to do it mobilely. So 75% of mobile traffic is video, people watching videos. And when I think about that, even just in this presentation, I think, yeah, they're watching it on YouTube. Nope. 56% of people are watching video on social. So Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, wherever, right?
Instagram for sure.
Instagram, yeah, everything's on Instagram. Right? And with that, this last one kind of blew me away. It's not just millennials. It's my mom and my dad, right? 81% of people 55 through 64 are making up that audience. They're watching videos online and on social networks. So when we talk about video, let's just take a second and think about why it works. Easy delivery, you get a lot of info. Hopefully it's engaging and entertaining, right? But it's just a great way to highlight and push out your culture, at least for the purposes of us here today and our conversation, right? I wanted to show you a video from Cancer Treatment Centers of America. This is one of my favorite job videos I've ever seen. Let's go ahead and cue the video and we'll come back and talk about it in a second. In 30 seconds, they're telling you not only why Dr. I, real employee by the way, decided to become a doctor and make that lifelong commitment, but they're also connecting you to why she works at CTCA, what their mission are, and what their combined values are. Awesome. Other things you can do with video, show your culture. Introduce people to your team, introduce people to the environment. Show who you are in different fun ways, and you know it's not written here, but get really creative with it. You can show part of the application process if you have a particularly tricky one, or like nurses who have to have credentials and usually got to put it in the ATS different way, right? You can do hiring tips, you can do interview tips, you can do, hey, you're trying to get into this industry. These are some things you should think about knowing. We're going to look at another video from Ursula, also just kind of showing kind of some culture and a little bit of a day in the life. And just a little bit of twist on how the video is done. If you go ahead and cue that one too, please.
Before we start it too, I just want to point out, Alex said that video is 30 seconds. The next one's 43 seconds. It doesn't take long. The first video didn't even have any words, right? Music only. You can have a big impact. And I always like to make this kind of thought. I like cat videos, right? I have a cat, so I don't mind when people send them to me. I'll watch them. But even though I like them, I'm going to watch that for like 30, 40 seconds, and then I'm going to hit that bar because I'm like, okay, is this 20 more seconds of my life or 3 more minutes? Because if it's 3 minutes, I'm probably not going to keep watching it. So you want to make sure that if you are doing video, it's engaging. And when it starts to feel like, am I done watching this? It's pretty much over. Alex, I kind of feel like we should have worked in a high five after that.
Yeah, right?
Oh, we're going to do it.
There we go.
Yes. They're having a lot of fun.
So, yeah, pretty fun, huh? Awesome, just really cool 45-second way to not only show you kind of what the job looks like, but really show out their values. Hey, we don't take ourselves too seriously. We have fun on the job. We invoke teamwork, and that music just makes me want to, go join their team right now.
That's true.
It's stuck in my head all day.
Yeah.
But again, and in 40 seconds? Another thing that stands out about these is while we're using examples that have some clear production value to them, don't let that scare you. We're going to talk about mobile a few times here today. The power of what you have in your phone in your pocket rather is amazing. That is your phone, right? You can start with an iPhone video. Even if you start with something produced like this, you can bolster up your inventory with iPhone videos. And those things are real, they're direct, they're at the moment, they're spontaneous, they're all the awesome things that we want to get from our candidates.
Yep, and another great thing is if you don't happen to have that budget, doing these kinds of videos with your phone, which with a simple app you can shoot B-roll, you can add music, you can get all the pieces that you need. That's a great way to build out value to say, hey, we've done these on our phone, we want more production value, give us some dollars, right? So you can build them out that way. So we've heard a lot about AI today, and as recruitment, well, as social really is moving to be more automated, so is recruitment. And it doesn't have to be everywhere, but there are some places that we're seeing it, right? Text to apply, chat bots, even some scheduling tools. It's meant to make your life easier. But what we want to see is when we're simplifying the process, we take a look at what's making things easier for our recruiters, what's making things easier or better for our candidates. But about 95% of candidates say that even though they don't mind automation, they don't want a fully automated process. So make sure that you use AI as like a top of funnel process, bring people down. And when you hit a point somewhere in the middle, that's where you want to start bringing your recruiters and your hiring managers in, because they're the ones who tell your story and really sell your brand, and they can make that personal connection, which is really important.
So mobile, right? We talked about AI right now, and while that's coming more available, some people might be thinking, well, what about something a little bit closer to home? So let's talk about that. It's right there in your pocket. It's estimated that we're looking at about 3 billion, with a B, new mobile users joining us next year. New. And for those 3 billion, it's the only way that they're going to have access to the internet. So subsequently, you have Facebook saying that next year, mobile internet will be more ubiquitous than running water. That is to say, more people will have access to a mobile phone or have a mobile phone than they have access to running water.
Who finds that crazy, by the way? I was like, what kind of a stat is that? It's a lot.
So what does that mean for you? How does that help you out? Engaging in mobile, taking it an advantage, 2 steps. First thing to focus on is make your career site mobile friendly. Make your job posts mobile friendly. This is a shot from one of our iPhones of our career site at CareerArc. Give it that visibility, make it easy, digestible, deliverable on that platform. Second, Get all your career messaging out on social or rather mobile native platforms like social media. So we talk about getting job posts out there, but really get all of your career messaging out there. Your hiring events, your value proposition, the candidate experience that you're trying to create and that you're accomplishing, that brand. When we're talking about careers, brand, and experience, and the employee value proposition, we want all of that getting out there as fast and wide as you can by using social media and other mobile platforms.
Now, in addition to seeing all of your jobs and all of your career content go mobile and go social, we're seeing a shift now to the social CEO. So everyone envision your CEO in your mind or a CEO in your mind. You got it? Everybody got it? Okay, so who's envisioning like the CEO in the corner office somewhere far, far away, like buttoned up suit, all that? Okay, a couple people. Who's envisioning like the surfing CEO, the complete opposite? Nobody? Who's envisioning Robin? Everyone's envisioning Robin right now, right? Yeah, so it's very different. Is there anyone in here who is the surfing CEO? Like we're in California, does anybody surf? So we're seeing a shift now to a CEO who has to be on social media and creating transparency and visibility for your jobs, for your employees, for candidates. This is what people really want. They want to know what this company is doing and they want to hear it from the top down. And think about like even what's going on in the political landscape right now. Sometimes you hear news on Twitter before it ever even hearing it on the news, or the news is reporting on Twitter. So there's this creation of content that's coming specifically through social, long before it ever gets out any other way.
Right, and when we talk about coming from the top down, and in the political example, or just kind of what's out there in news, really think about that. So a few years ago, it might have been like a Senate page sending out something on behalf of a senator, right? It might have been a digital manager at CNN sending out something on their Twitter page. No, now from the top down, our leaders are communicating to us via Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, social media. You know, Anderson Cooper has his own Twitter page and occasionally sends out his own tweets, or maybe always does, but it's coming direct from them in their voice, right? So really engaging and reaching out to us and giving us direct messaging.
So just out of curiosity, we're gonna do one of our polls that we've been doing, because they're so much fun, I like to watch them populate. Does anyone have a social CEO? Or even if you are the one, I know sometimes if you're in employment brand marketing, you're the one who's actually posting for your CEO, creating that social presence. Anybody? 100% no? Okay, I thought maybe one or two. Oh, there we go, okay. So it's a pretty small percent who are saying yes. So hopefully as we start moving through the end of this year and into next year, we'll maybe see that shift 70-30 even, getting positive to do that. So I wasn't sure it was gonna come out. There's a lot of no's. I think I have to, there we go. All right, so sort of piggybacking on this same topic, now everyone is becoming a lot more vocal.
Right, and really when we're talking about social, we're talking about our voice. It's going far, and it's louder than ever. So whether it is a social CEO who's engaging in social media and creating a culture of social sharing employees, or whether it's a bottom-up approach, employees are all on social media, CEO's like, okay, I gotta be on this now, I'm being forced to do it. Same thing we're seeing in that employee and work environment, we're seeing in the candidate environment. And we've already kind of hit this one on the head a little bit, but think about how loud that voice is and how far that share is going. Think about all the social networks that you guys are on, whether it's just one or whether it's the 7.
Maybe 12.
Maybe 12. Each of us has those 500 immediate connections, or on average connections that we've been talking about, and each of them has 500 more connections of their own. So what does that mean? 250,000. We have the ability at a touch of a button, at our fingertips, to create a viral message. So for example, if everybody in this room wanted to go on Twitter right now and tweet out that at the Youdim and at Alyssa Gioscia are just killing it at EMBARC right now.
It could go viral.
It'd be huge. No, really, it'd be huge.
Okay.
But back to the 250K, right? So when I think about that, when I think that there's 250,000 people who can talk about me, it kind of makes me want to run and hide, It might want to make some of y'all or other people in your organization want to run and hide, right? But that's not the answer because they're there. They're doing it. So what is the answer? Get out in front of it. Be social, be mobile, be loud, create that message, put it out in the environment, and by doing that, you own that message. You're directing the content. You're directing the feedback on your organization. And it doesn't have to be a developed or organized brand. It doesn't all have to come from recruiters and talent acquisition and CEOs. It could come from your employees. So in this example over here for GoDaddy, real simple. Somebody's sending out, hey, this is something I love about my job. It's a gym. I don't run. But we have this really, really cool gym on site. Really cool facility. Come check it out. Come work with me. You heard Summer talk about Compass Group. They're doing a great job, and it's seen by their employees, and it's expressed by their employees. Again, another employee taken out and saying, hey, I just want to let you guys know how awesome we are, how happy I am with my team, and congrats on this award that you guys won. And they're sending it out there, and they're dictating brand by that. And people are listening, and they're coming back and saying, hey, I want to be a part of that too.
Mm-hmm. You know, when you're thinking about your social content, engagement is important. This is not new, right? Everyone knows engagement. If you're with CareerArc, your CSM is like, do more posts, right? Or we're constantly on that. But what we're seeing actually is a shift in how engagement is being measured. So it's previously been likes and followers, right? That was a big thing. Except now that we've found out that likes and followers can be fabricated, we have to actually create engagement through true interaction because we want to make sure that what's happening on the post is really happening on the post. So you want content that's engaging and worth sharing and interacting with. So how do you do that? Well, obviously, one of the ways is video because people have to click play, they have to stop and watch it so they're interacting with you. Another great way, and I love this super cute dog post, they are asking a question, they also have a call to action. Either or both of those are great. So did a black dog adopt you? Yes or no? Great, I'm posting about it. I'm tagging a friend, Mary, this is you, right? So that's great. And post a picture. So you'll notice when I screenshot this, 33 comments and 36 likes. They're almost equal. So now they're getting real-time interaction. There's a bunch of shares on here as well. Another thing to do is comment on the comments. People love that, right? If I follow a brand on Instagram and they post a new product and I'm like, oh, I got it, and they love it, and they're like, oh, Alyssa, we're so glad. I'm like, I love when people interact. I'm like, oh, they like me. They like my comment, right? I love that. I do.
Yeah, that engagement with people from the brand perspective is just, it's great and it works in so many ways. I'm gonna peel it back for a second and take it out of recruitment. I don't know how many of you guys follow Arby's on social media or have seen or heard in the news, like the things that they do. Like they, the last thing I heard was, I fell off my chair over, they like picked a fight on Twitter, a fight with Subway about a sandwich they created. Yeah, it's great. So I tweeted out to Arby's, I was like, I just love your marketing, right? And they liked my tweet. I think I ran through the office, the halls that day, phone in hand, yelling that I'm a hashtag influencer.
Yeah.
I totally won social that day.
Yeah.
And that's what your candidates, that's what your employees, that's what everybody in kind of in your sphere, all the people that we're reaching out to daily, that's how they feel. It doesn't matter what message we're connecting with them on, it matters that we're connecting.
Yeah.
Right?
Another really fun way to do this is to actually post about your employees, like Allied Universal here doing a shout out. 50% of your employees are already posting. We saw some examples of that. So if you're posting about them, you're giving them content to share, which is great. It's like, hey mom, look, I got this promotion or award or whatever. And you've seen actually the videos around here of the CareerArc promotion that we're doing right now where we're highlighting our employees. Alex was actually the first person to do that. So we've got these videos, we've got the photos, so he can do hey mom for real.
And I did.
Yeah.
I got my mom on Instagram for that. But one thing that was really cool about that experience, besides just kind of the opportunity to say what I love about our brand and kind of share my experience, was after that, it was posted on LinkedIn, it was posted kind of everywhere, and somebody reached out to me, an old business mentor from my first job, that really kind of brought me up in my career. And then in the last maybe 10 years or so, we kind of lost touch. And after about 4 years, she reached out. She's like, oh my God, that's awesome. I'm so happy for you. This is so cool. Tell me about this job. Tell me about these people. Tell me about who you work with. And oh, by the way, I just got a new job, and they're gonna make me do a video. Do you have any tips for me? And it totally opened up a conversation with somebody And that whole conversation was just how great it is to be a part of CareerArc and how everyone deserves to be here. And on her end, wow, that's really crazy how much dedication that they put into you, right? And how they're backing you guys up, how they're backing you up, right? Again, just a great way to really kind of highlight who you are and as an organization, how much you love your people. What an awesome message to get out there.
So we're going to do a switch now. We looked at some social trends. We want to look at what's going on in recruitment. You'll notice with some of the recruitment trends, they're actually kind of moving hand in hand with the social trends, which is not surprising because social is sort of pulling recruitment along, right? It's no longer a fad. So here's our list again. Guess what's at the top? Video, right? Are you surprised to see that? No, probably not. So video on the hiring process. A lot of you have probably been using Skype or Zoom to do video interviewing for a long time. That's not new. But we're seeing a lot more over the last year and moving into the new year, videos in the jobs in some way. So, right, if you're doing job distribution on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, you might have videos going out with your jobs. You might, if you have our job map, John mentioned this yesterday, we've got video that can show up on the map. So it's a great way to pull your branding all the way through everything that you're pushing out and use those videos to tell your story. The number one roadblock for candidates is that they don't know about your organization. What's it actually like to work there? So if you have a video of their team, a video of your culture, I like those Zoom videos where they go around the office, right? Sometimes people have a slide or something and they're like, wow, that looks really fun. So it gives you some more information about it. But it can also be extremely simple, like what's a day in the life at this job? So you'll notice Crossmark here, they actually have a day in the life video in the job description because they can say a lot more truly about what that job is from that video than just from reading what's there. So I'm going to show you a very short snippet from this video real quick, but just so you can get an idea.
Once you enter the store, record the time you entered on your notepad and proceed to the backstock area to sign in with the receiver. After signing in, grab a cart or U-boat from the back room and locate the designated area for backstock. If you cannot find the backstock, ask the receiver you checked in with. They can help you. At times, the backstock will be located in tough-to-access areas, and a ladder may be required to get the product down. Place what is needed into the cart and proceed back to the store sales floor.
I'm just going to play a quick snippet on that for you. But if you don't want to climb a ladder, you might not want to do that job, right? Or if you think it sounds fun to go from store to store and stock it up and get to talk to a lot of different people and just be out and about, then that's good for you. But just that little snippet told you a lot more than reading what those steps are about the job. So it's a really great way to get more information across. We're going to jump into peer advocacy.
Right.
We like this one.
So what do we mean by peer advocacy? We're really talking about engaging your employee audience to connect and deliver your jobs, your content, your brand to their peers via social media. So really get them involved. Reach out, ask, beg, send out letters, run contests, bribe them if you have to.
We got the Grand Casino ladies in the house. That's right.
Awesome example, by the way. This is so cool. So here we're looking at content that they sent out to their employees and said, hey, we're on social, please follow us, please engage with us, and as a benefit to you, we're going to do this as a contest. We're going to pick the winner from people who are engaging with us socially. That's how we're going to get our picking pool from.
And then we advertise the winner via social, and they get a gift card.
Here you go. Write that down.
There you go.
Right.
And so what does that do? Well, here you see an example of an engaged peer of our very own. So Vanessa on our team, some of y'all, maybe all of y'all who are customers have probably met Vanessa at some point. She probably integrated all of you guys.
Yep.
Is looking for a new integration engineer. She sent it out on social. She sent it out on LinkedIn in this case. Each of us picked that up, sent that out. Everyone in the company is sending out. We're getting clicks. We're getting shares. We're putting out there to our networks, hey, come join us. We love it here. Be a part of the team.
Mm-hmm. The other part of peer advocacy is creating fun teams. So if you have your team members participating in the hiring process, they can help. You can get holiday photos like this, right? We're having a really good time. So we didn't know each other before we started working together, but now we're like a little family. So Alex and I, we talk about how we know each other's personal lives, like, hey, how's your girlfriend? How's your move going? Whatever it might be. So by involving your teams in the hiring process, you can help ensure that your teams and also your company culture are really carrying through. So for us, we work with a lot of different teams, but because our company culture is so strong and each teams are really involved in the hiring process, it makes sure that it's a positive experience for everybody. So we want to do a word cloud because we think these are so cool. For those of you who are including your teams in the hiring process, or if you were to, what kind of positive things do you think would come out of that participation? Maybe it's innovation, maybe it's camaraderie. Go ahead and type those in. We just wanted to see what people thought, and hopefully it'll make a pretty fun word cloud. What do you got, too? Oh. I love that, family.
Referrals.
Yeah, referrals. They're helping us with our next slide.
Right?
So this is awesome. Engagement, yes. Referrals, knowledge, hires. So cool. This is neat. This is my favorite part.
Yeah, this is really cool.
This is very cool. Did someone put candy? Yes. We have a lot of candy in our office too. That's a good one. But you can see, look at all the different positive things that come from including your team members in the process. I think I was interviewed by 4 or 5 different people. So I, as someone coming in new to CareerArc, now I know who I'm going to be working with. Is it a good personality fit? It makes it fun for the candidate to get to know people, and then your team can have input and say, we would really love that person on our team. Because by the time they come in, you know the ability is there. It's the familial fit that you're looking for. So this is very cool. Thanks for participating, everybody. Love that.
So referrals up there right on the top.
Yep.
Sneak peek. Another
Thank you
awesome
for the
part
lead-in.
of career advocacy is that it's going to drive, and help drive rather, employer referrals. And that's going to be huge. When we're talking about the kinds of unemployment numbers we're seeing and the value behind those numbers to fill loss of skills, right? Really ensure the future of each of our workplaces. Employer referrals are going to help drive those numbers with qualified, pre-vetted, culture fit candidates. Something that blew me away is about 7% of all applications are through employer referrals, but that makes up about 40% of hires. On average, those people, about 50% happier at their jobs. 50% happier. What would you do to be 5% happier in anything? 50. And then for recruiters, the real value, where's another value, the hard value, is how much less time you're spending on looking for fills, right? We've heard it already. There's so many things that y'all have to do in your days on talent acquisition. Let us help you. Let your employees help you.
Plus, employee referrals, that's another category that falls into that pre-vetted category, right? If I'm putting my name behind somebody, I'm gonna make sure they're a good fit for the team. Can they do the job? Do they wanna do the job? Before I'm recommending them. So by the time they get to you, hopefully, they're well through the process. And in fact, one of my very best friends works at CareerArc now.
And she's awesome.
That's right. And now,
Oh, there we go. Sorry.
yay!
So here's our quick commercial pitch. You heard yesterday, just reminding you that about when Roman went through the roadmap, we are pushing out in 2020, or actually we're in beta now, our employee referral piece.
Yeah.
And the idea is really quick to help you leverage your employees, make that a little bit easier, help them leverage their networks, help you incentivize them, and very importantly, help you track the progress of those referrals.
That's right. So candidate experience, we heard a lot about this. You know that candidate and consumer experience are hand in hand now. And people are 38% more likely to accept a job if they've had a good candidate experience. When you don't have very many people for a particular application and you have somebody you really like, they have a good experience, they're more likely. They're also 2/3 more likely to recommend you as an employer of choice, even if they don't get hired, just because they had a good candidate experience. So candidate experience is very important. And how can you create a good one? 3 ways. The first one is creating a consumer-grade experience, right? We spend a lot of time making sure our consumers are having a good time. What's their experience when they come in the store or use our product? We want to make sure we have that same experience for candidates. And that's from their initial interaction with us all the way through, even if they're a declined candidate. Liberty Mutual has a really great option. They use our candidate care, but they're like, hey, check us out on social, engage with our talent network. We want to make sure that even though you didn't get hired this time, you still know that we want you interacting with us. Align with your culture and values. This is huge because passive candidates, that's our whole market right now. So if you tell me that you have community outreach and that speaks to me as a person, I'm likely to select you over somebody else because maybe you're pretty even, but you're now speaking to me as who I am and what's important to me. And then segment your candidates. That's a big one. So some of you have office folks, freelance consultants, part-time, hourly people in the field. All of them need a specific candidate experience for them. So if you have somebody who's in accounting, maybe they don't mind sitting down at the computer for 2 hours and doing an application process. But also, please don't do that to people. We want to streamline it. But what if you have somebody out in the field, right? Does anybody hire tower climbers? John, do you have that, or you're doing all cable? But so, yes, but you do, right? They're hard to find, and they are out in the field. They're on Twitter, they're on Facebook. They need a 2-click process because they are not using a computer, right? They don't want anything to do with that. So you can look at the different personas of your types of candidates and create an experience that makes sense for them so it's easier for them to apply with you. I really like that one. The other thing is hiring for soft skills. I learned for this presentation there are 29 million skills in deficit between now and 2030 because the majority of jobs created between now and then will focus on soft skills. Soft skills are like empathy, agility, flexibility, EQ type things. So rather than focusing just on the function of the job, we're now looking for people who can be flexible, can do change management, can work with multiple teams. I mean, a lot of people, you get hired for one job, but you really end up doing 3, right? Or you're working with a lot of different teams. So you need to be able to move around. So this is the skill set that's going to be needed moving forward.
Right. So kind of bringing another topic that we've talked about a lot is defining your brand, right? Getting your brand out there, your employer brand. This is so important, and this is something that we really need to think about and be honest about. Because companies that have a great employer brand, employer brand, see 50% more qualified applicants than those who don't. Based on a study from some of our friends at LinkedIn, they also see a 50% lower cost to hire, or reduction in cost to hire. So it's huge. When defining our employer brand, we need to show our culture, we need to show our values, we need to use it to engage our community and their community, and really, define that brand. So a lot of times I'll talk to people about branding, and you'll hear things like, work hard, play hard, or work-life balance. But really think about that when we're talking to people, and think about what that brand really is to you. Don't just say that because somebody else said that. So for example, my first job was in telecom sales. And the reason I took that job is because on the interview, they told me, listen, nobody makes it. Well, at the time, I just finished college, moved back here, was living in my parents' basement. I needed 2 things. I needed to get out of the house, and I needed to get, make my rent, figure out how to get out of that basement. So they came in and they said, look, we don't have work-life balance. You're gonna be working all day and all night. But if you're not part of that 80%, if you're not part of that churn in the first few days, then you're gonna have a very successful career that's gonna set you up for other things. I didn't care about work-life balance. I lived in a basement. I wanted to get out of the basement. I cared about making that rent. They told me that, and I was like, all right, cool. Let's do this, right? And it worked out. And then when you see that, when you put that out there, and by the way, that was just for one job, right? So, Brian was talking about this yesterday, that different job roles are going to have a different value, and you're going to have a different brand for that. So don't be afraid to think about it that way, and to again, build your brand based on that segmentation that we talked about. Mm-hmm. But when you do that, you're also going to see people come back and get third-party validation on that brand. So there's a couple examples over here on the board. Alyssa, if you want to run through them real quick.
Yeah, so CHS, you can see that they're saying 100% of graduates employed after graduation are going to do a full, 4-year degree. This shows that what they're doing in their internship program is really supporting people in their future career. And Compass Group, it's covered, but it says the best employees for women. Their inclusion and diversity program is huge. And so now not only are they seeing it, but Forbes is seeing it too. So when your brand has been created and you're pushing it out there, not only are you seeing it, but other people start seeing it too. It makes it much easier for you to promote it that way. So we're going to talk about recruiters of the future. We have a couple minutes left. I want to take you through the personas, also the new outfits that recruiters of the future are going to get to step into. So there's 5 personas you're going to see, and some of these are just shifts in what they're already doing, and some are a little bit newer. So we're going to jump in.
So first, we're going to be industry authorities, right? That means A, being brand ambassadors, but in line with that, being market experts, because that's what's going to help influence that. And by having those 2 things, by being the arbiter of your brand, and by knowing the industry you work in, you're going to build very valuable relationships, and those relationships are going to continue to help recruiters be influencers, shift public opinion of your organization, both inside and outside, helping you attract that talent that you're looking for.
This one's my favorite, candidate experience wizards. They're going to have to be the Gandalfs of the candidate experience. I love this icon too. So going into 2020, something that's really fascinating is that there's going to be 5 different generations of candidates in the candidate pool, which doesn't happen very often. And these generations are all extremely different in who they are and what they're looking for in their candidate experience. So the term that's being coined now is multi-generational empathizers. Recruiters are going to have to understand that some people want a very streamlined process, some of the younger people want all the feels. Are they giving the right candidate experience to the right people as they're going through the process?
I'm going to take roles as consultants and advisors, right? So think about that internally. When we talk about consulting, it's internal consulting on the organization, letting them know what they need to do internally to help best attract the talent you're looking for, right? You're going to take that, you're going to market that culture, that value, those benefits, back out publicly to candidates, and closing the feedback loop. You take that information to suggest the evolution internally and keep that going, right? And with that, you're helping your companies strategize, build, and continue to develop and elevate their brand, their culture, and become marketplace leaders.
Next up, salespeople. This is not new, right? Sales and recruiting have been hand in hand pretty much forever. But what the shift now is that because basically 90% of our candidates are passive, recruiters are going to have to sell your brand like they've never had to do before. Because I remember 10 years ago when I was job searching and I thought, man, I would love if someone would reach out to me so I don't have to go through this process of weeding through all these jobs and companies, etc. Now, recruiters are regularly reaching out. But to me, I'm like, well, I love CareerArc, so unless you have Skittles raining down from the sky, I'm not interested, right? But they have to really stand out in the sea of recruiters reaching out. You might get 2 or 3 a week. So why is your company unique? This is, again, where your brand and values come into play, but they're really going to have to be savvy in how they're selling and how they're standing out. Utilizing social selling will be another tool. Where are your people on social? And that actually leads into our next, Carmen Sandiego. Recruiters will have to be detectives. They're going to have to know your industry so well. LinkedIn is now not the only place where candidates are. Are they on Facebook? Are they on Facebook communities? Twitter, Reddit, blogs, forums? What is it for your industry that's going to be where your candidates are? So by being an industry expert, your recruiters can actually find people in those places and drop some interesting information. Here's some helpful stuff that you want to know. They can start those relationships. They can build what's going on with these people, be active in the forums. That way when they do reach out for the job, they've already established the relationship, they are known in the industry, and now they can participate. So we know we've given you a lot today. Our goal is that you can put 1 or 2 things into practice now and then use this over the course of the next 12 months to put some of these things into play and help move your teams. And of course, if you want to reach out to Alex or I, our info is up there as well. Thank you all so much, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.